Hi, I'm Linda Bernhardt. I am the instructor for this course, Environmental Science, or SCIE 1121. You get an interesting view behind me. Let's see, will it focus on it or is it too bright? I think it might be too bright. Behind me, total snow. I'm in Atlanta. Who would expect this? But we will totally be talking about this throughout this course because my backdrop goes with environmental science. I like to always start the term with a video, a welcome video, tell you a little bit about me, the course, go over the syllabus, the stuff you would get if this was an in-person class. Throughout the term, I like to also give you weekly videos. I have a lot of pre-recorded videos that should still be in place, but I randomly am working on replacing them bit by bit. I'm also still working on replacing articles. So the first week of this term, things are going to be changing a little here and there. Normally, I have everything 100% ready before the first day, but up until a few days ago, I was under the impression I was only going to have one section of environmental science and then these other courses. And so I just kind of stopped what I was doing, waiting to find out what I was really having. And then it turned out I have two sections of the environmental science and then the environmental science lab, which, to make sure you know, is totally separate from the class. So this put me a little behind in how I normally start everything. So just know week one, things are going to be getting adjusted a tad. Nothing huge. Everything in week one will remain as week one. The syllabus is totally ready. So quick thing about me is I like to tell people that I'm pretty much an alphabet soup, that I am on the autism spectrum. I have ADHD. I've got sensory processing disorder, audio processing issues, CPTSD, a bunch of different things. How does this affect you? Well, one, my brain comes at things from a different direction. And so there will probably be times where you're trying to figure out what it is I'm talking about. But if you go with it, we'll get there and you will see that I will connect things in a way you probably didn't think. I also share all of this because the phrase "no man is an island" is running through my head. That's not exactly what I'm wanting to say, but that's what's in my head. I know that your mental health is extremely important. This is a class. It's just a class. Your life, your mental health, more important. And I understand. I share all of my stuff so that others know that they can share theirs, and then none of us have to feel quite so alone. Now, are there plenty of neurotypical people? Yeah, plenty. Most of the class is going to be mostly neurotypical. Then we will have a few people who are a little neurospicy, some spicier than others. We all have different ways. Everybody learns different ways. And so if there's anything I'm doing that makes it hard for you to comprehend, please talk to me. Let me know. You will see that everything in the course is very structured, very orderly, because that's how my brain works. You will notice anytime I write anything, it's like proper paragraphs, there's spacing, all of that kind of stuff. I do that because I'm also dyslexic. And if it's just this big old block of text, I can't comprehend it. And so I always ask for you to take that into consideration when you're writing. And so if there's something I'm doing that I can make a simple adjustment to help you, tell me, please. I want all of us to get the best out of this. In this course, we are going to be going over a lot of current topics. There will be a paper. I am still finalizing in my brain what it's going to be. This will be the first term I do this. Typically, I have made everybody I did various group projects, and I really liked them. I thought it made you really think things out. I did it for a very specific reason, which is mostly to make those people who don't do anything the entire term and then swoop in at the end learn you can't do that in the real world, because they would get zeros mostly. I'm tired of trying to grade the group projects. I'm tired of the drama from the group projects. So I'm not doing a group project this term. And because of that, I'm trying to decide exactly what the paper is going to be. And I'm hoping I will have finalized it and made a video for it by week 3. So it is coming, but I need to finish deciding. So yeah, let's take a look at that syllabus. No laughing at the amount of stuff I have open. I'm just sharing the entire desktop. So as stuff pops up, it's there. You will notice right here, if you are in section 6, this is what your banner looks like. If you are in my section 3, this is what your banner looks like. It doesn't matter. I will sometimes use this as the video. Sometimes I will use this in a video. It really doesn't matter. So hopefully everybody watches this. And when I use one that is not yours, you don't say, but does that matter with my class? I have 2 sections of the same course. Both of these are images that I took. This one is some random place. I want to say Texas, Arizona, New Mexico. I drove from Atlanta to Las Vegas one year, and this is one of those pictures. Then I went too high and the thing dropped down. I have to wait for it to go away. And then this one, I was just recently in Costa Rica. And so this is a close-up of one of the plants that I saw in Costa Rica. So I really like seeing the world. I am in love with the environment and the planet. And so this is really one of my favorite things to teach. Now, why I brought you here. Obviously, it's an online course. You have to do everything online. So this is your welcome announcement. I know most people aren't going to read it. It would be great if you did. The main thing I want you to note, I tried my hardest to make jump out at you. So I'm going to talk you through. Every single week, you have to open that week's folder, and then you have to open that week's file. Until you open that file, nothing for that week will open. This means in week 1, you have to open the week 1 file. There is also, sorry, it's really cold and it's messing with my lungs. Oh, yeah, I have asthma too. Right here, you must take this proof of attendance quiz in order to access the week 2 information. That means if you don't do that quiz, you can't access week 2. Every single week, you will have a folder and a file you have to open. You have to open the file in order to access any of the assignments. This means, and yes, I know I'm saying this over and over again, but I promise you I'm going to get all kinds of emails about this. If you click on discussions because you figure you can just do this, notice it says has release conditions. Until you open that file, you cannot open the introduction. Week 2 has release instructions or conditions. Until you open the week 2 file, you will not have access to the discussion. Same thing for the quizzes. Each of these quizzes, you have to open that week's file or it will not open. So I need you to understand that because it is that for all 17 weeks through the entire course. It never deviates. I do this to force you to actually go to the details, because if you click on the week 1 details or the week 1 file, I'm telling you what's coming. I remind you when things are due. Oops, I need to fix this because we don't have a group project anymore. I'm going to fix these hyperlinks in just a moment, like before you can even see the video, because the class opens tomorrow. I give you all the hyperlinks. There is always going to be information every week about what we're covering. There will always be hyperlinks. So it is in your best interest to actually read the week details. So there you go. Now, let's go to the syllabus. There is this file called Papers and Such. This Zoom office, that is my virtual office. So anytime somebody feels the need to meet, shoot me a message. I would prefer it if you email me, and I'm going to talk about that in a moment. say that you would like to talk to me about something. I will then come back to you and say, okay, when is good? And I will ask you a couple of basic questions. Then you tell me which of these times or dates sound the best. Then I will probably narrow it down more. And then you tell me, then I confirm, and then you agree, and I will be on Zoom at this place. There's a lot of back and forth. I am not just sitting here all the time and available 24/7. So I have to get confirmation from you about meeting. I have 4 jobs, and so my schedule can be a little crazy. This is why I will say, hey, here's the time periods I have. Do any of these work for you? If you wait 2 days to get back to me, I might have filled up that space by then. So remember, if you're asking to meet with me, check back to look at my response. Okay. And then here's the syllabus. This is the whole reason we came here. Syllabus. Bam. So this is our syllabus. We are in the spring term of 2025. These are my so-called official office hours, Tuesday or Thursdays, 1 to 2. I just did that because I felt like I needed to put some kind of time. I'm normally available. I'm normally available at that time, but by request is easier. I do not do phone calls. I do not. If you remember a moment ago, I told you I have an auditory processing issue. Just a random voice, I have a much harder time following. So I either do everything via email and text or Zoom video where you have to be on camera. If you log into the Zoom and you are not on camera, I will disconnect because that's just like a glorified phone call and that doesn't work for me. I have to either be able to read your words or see your mouth and your expression to really be able to have a proper conversation. This is the email address that I prefer you to use to contact me. That goes straight to my phone, so I know that somebody's trying to reach me. I like to respond quickly. And so if you send me a message through Brightspace, I might not get it for a day or two, and then you're just left hanging. If you email me, I will get it quickly and I will respond quickly. Even if that response is, I see that you've asked me this question. I do not have time to respond right now. If I don't get back to you by, and then I'll give you a time and date, please remind me, because I can be the nutty professor too. But I will get back to you. If at any point you email me and I'm not getting back to you, there's probably a problem. I might not have gotten it. It might have gone into the junk folder and then I might need a reminder. But I have not had that happen. Knock on wood. There we go. The other one is this. Notice this phone number. Notice it says text. That also comes to my phone. You can text me or email me any time of day or night. My phone lives on do not disturb. The volume is all the way down and it is on silent. So you are not going to disturb me if you email me or text me. So if you're working on something at like 2 o'clock in the morning and you have a question that pops into your head, shoot it, send it to me. I'm good with that. I will respond whenever. So if you don't want a response at a certain time, or I should say before a certain time, make sure to put that in your message because I have trouble sleeping. And it could be 5 o'clock in the morning and I get the message and I'm like, oh, and I'll go ahead and respond to you. And I'm not doing it to be rude. It's just since I have all my sound off, I kind of forget not everybody has their sound off. But this phone number, if you text me through this, I use this for multiple jobs, multiple universities. The first time you text me here, please tell me that you're with SCIE. Tell me what class you're in and with which section and your name. You only have to do that the first time because I will keep the entire thread. And then this way I always know where to look, because if you're in one section and you're asking me a question and it pertains to just you, like your grade, or you did something and you can't find something, this file isn't working, I need to know which section to look at. And so that helps me a lot. Anyway, this is all that legally stuff that we have to put in here. It says required text and other required materials. This is the textbook that we use, but I have put every single PowerPoint from the book on Brightspace. So you have access to everything for free on Brightspace other than the actual textbook. If you like the actual textbook, which I do highly recommend. I want to update soon, but I haven't updated yet. If you want the actual book that goes with it, this is the ISBN. So you can just Google that number or go to Amazon with that number in order to find a print copy if you feel you need it. Okay. Ta-da! I'm just scrolling past this. Feel free to read these things. Okay, this is how your points are going to be done. I use a point system, which I will talk about in just a moment here. I'm going in the order that we have to do our syllabus. I normally would have covered points and then assignments, but to stick with how they want our syllabi, I have to do this first. So here you go. All right, you will have a weekly quiz. Notice the name weekly quiz. That means there will be a quiz every single week. That means 17 quizzes because this is a 17-week course. At no point should you ever be able to say, well, I didn't think we had a quiz this week. We have a quiz every single week. Each quiz, the top score you can get is 13.75 points. I know that's random, but that makes it where the quizzes all add up to 220 points. You then have weekly discussions. Weekly discussions. I didn't write weekly in there. I'm just telling you right now, there will be one every single week. They are 20 points apiece. You will have a paper that is worth 200 points. That's the one I was talking about earlier that will be discussed probably in week 3. You will then have 2 regular exams, exam 1 and exam 2, each worth 100 points, and then a final exam, which is worth 100 points. This is for a total of 1,000 points. All right, the class agenda. This is just letting you know what we're covering each week, which chapter. The week 1, it says January 12th to 18th. The 18th is Saturday, but everything is due Friday night. So please, this is telling you the week dates, not the due dates. This is just the dates that signify week 1, week 2, and so on. I tried to make it evened out as much as possible. So there you go. You will note week 8 is midterm. So this will be, I guess I should say, the point of no return. If you're going to drop out, you need to do so before here. There will be midterm grades posted. We'll talk about it and whatnot. There is no midterm exam. Week 9, work on paper that's due at the end of the term. I give you an entire week to dedicate to the paper in case you haven't been working on it. I highly suggest to work on it a little here and there throughout the semester. It's less stressful. It's worth 200 points. And if you were paying attention a moment ago, that means this paper is worth 2 exams. That's huge. So you don't want to wait till the last minute. Then you have spring break. Don't have to worry about stuff there. I typically normally have like an extra credit quiz or something. So if you're a person who likes extra credit, totally make sure to log in on this week. I always have something there. And then down here, week 15, that is when your papers are due. So your papers are due in week 15. And then we have a week of just a recap and then final exam and stuff like that. Grading system. This is what I was just talking about with the point system. I do points. I think it makes sense. So you always know exactly where you are. If you have 900 points or higher, you have an A. This means if you have 901 points showing in your grades, and I don't mean percent, I mean points. If you have 901 points, that means you already have an A. If you don't turn anything else in after that, you still have an A. Your points never go down, they only go up. But if you have 899 points, you have a B because you have not reached 900. That's how this whole thing breaks down. This is also why it's so important to take that paper seriously. It's 100 points per letter grade. You can do everything else perfect and not do the paper, and you won't be able to get a B. I mean, assuming you didn't do any of the extra credit, because I have extra credit built in too. Stay on top of your work. That's the smartest thing you can do. I do not accept late work or makeup work. When it's closed, period. Exclamation point. You have a week minimum to do everything. Everything opens Sunday, everything opens Friday night, or closes Friday night. Some things are open more than 1 week. Most things open as soon as Saturday turns to Sunday at midnight and closes Friday night at 10 p.m. So you have all of Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and almost all of Friday, 6 days to do each assignment. If you choose to wait until the last minute, that's not my problem. You have plenty of time to do each assignment, so just do it. If I were you, I would knock it out at the beginning of the week, and then you don't have to worry about it. I make you turn things in Friday night, so it forces you to take Saturday off, just so you know. All this stuff in bold is because of previous classes and people not getting it. Everything has to be turned in the proper location. If you missed your chance to turn something in, you can't email it to me or add it into something else and think you're going to get credit. It must be turned in where it's supposed to be turned in. Again, you cannot email it or message or anything. You have to turn it in the proper location or you will not get any credit. Also, all papers that are turned in have to be a .doc, .docx, both of those are Word documents, or a PDF file. No other format is accepted. None. JPEG, not accepted. Screenshot, not accepted. GDoc, not accepted. You will get a 0. I will not give a second chance. You have to make sure to turn in the proper format. And it cannot be the online Microsoft version. It needs to be a file. So if you're using the online version, download the file to your computer and then attach that. I will not accept a link to an assignment. All right, got that out of the way. This is a reminder. Everything is due Friday nights at 10 p.m. So when people tell me they didn't know, I will tell you to look at page 4 of the syllabus. Everything's due Friday night at 10 p.m. I don't have an attendance policy. If you don't do your work, you fail. That's it. That's really it. These are about getting help. Tutoring. You really shouldn't need tutoring for this course. If you're needing help with this course, ask me. Because most of the time when people do poorly in my course, it's because they're just not following the directions. So read all of the directions, look at the rubrics, and look at the feedback. Anytime you have lost points, I have provided you feedback. So before you just message me, Miss Bernhardt, I don't understand. I did my thing. Why didn't I get the points? First, look at your feedback. Read what I said. See if it makes sense. If you look at the feedback and it does not make sense, then you message me and go, hey, Miss Bernhardt, I thought I did better. I looked at my feedback and I see where you say blah, 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 but I thought blah, blah, blah. Then we can talk about it. But you have to actually look at the feedback because I will put feedback every time and you need to read it first. Okay. This is all this stuff. Plagiarism, don't do it. You're also going to be tempted to use AI. Please don't. I am not going to do the IA checker thingy because the way I speak and the way I write gets flagged as AI all the time. The reason I tell you don't do it, other than it's really tacky, is AI fails miserably with my discussions. I ask you multiple things and AI tends to think something completely different. And I can figure out who's using it every time because of how off the mark they are with their answers. And it's bad. Now, if you want to take this as your own personal challenge to tweak AI enough to make it actually answer exactly what I'm telling you to, go for it. I really don't care. I just really hate getting very bad answers. I want people to do what I say. And one of the things is almost every week, I'm going to ask your opinion. If you need AI to give you your opinion, that's just really, really sad. So that's my thing about AI. There you go. And don't plagiarize. I will use a plagiarism checker sometimes. If I'm questioning it, I'll totally scan that sucker. Okay. You have to do well enough to keep your financial aid. There you go. Midterms. Right here, I'm pointing out that there's a current grade category for the entire course. Keep up with that. Always look at it. You should always know exactly where you stand with my class. Week 7 is what your midterm grade will be based on, and so that will be posted. Yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. And yeah, that is the entire syllabus. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to tell you is about the discussions. We're almost done, don't worry. When you go to discussions, you have all these words here. These words are your instructions. It's telling you the rules for discussions. So every single week, the stuff opens at midnight. So that means when Saturday night turns to Sunday morning, the week will open, the discussion will open. If you have not clicked on the week's file, you cannot open the discussion. Once you click on the week's file, feel free to go to the discussion. You have to do your first initial post before 10 p.m. on Wednesday night. Then on a separate day, you have to do more stuff in the discussion. So I need to see you being active in the discussion at least 2 different days. On top of that, you have to reply to at least 3 people. Notice I keep saying at least. I say at least because that is the bare minimum. So if you want to be the bare minimum student, these are the rules. This is how you get the points. If you want to be the student who gets extra points, you do more than that. You make more of an effort. I am one of those people who will throw points at people all over the place because they're going above and beyond. If you do more than you are supposed to, I reward that. If you do less than you're supposed to, then I will give you exactly the amount of points you earned. So I reward good behavior. That's how I work. All righty. This part right here. As soon as you say, I agree, blah, 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 or good point, and not much more, or to me, this means you're not going to get many points. When you are replying to somebody, it's supposed to be like a conversation. I do not want, I agree, water is wet. Good point when you said we should throw our trash in a trash can. Expand. Please, for the love of God, expand on that. I want more than that. You have to do more than just 1 or 2 sentences, but I don't want an entire paper. When you are replying to somebody, show that you read what they said. Expand on it. Agree, disagree, but don't say, I agree. Explain why. You know, like, oh my gosh, when you said blah, 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 I totally got it. In my discussion, I was covering blah, 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 blah. And I see how these 2 things go together. That kind of thing. That's what I'm looking for. Something that makes it feel like there is a conversation happening. And if you put a question at the end of your discussion, or if you ask a question as a reply, you better go back there and comment to whoever answers your question. I'm specifying this because that's something I've noticed recently. A lot of people will end it. I look forward to seeing what people think about blah, blah, blah. And then they never come back. That's rude. So if you, I like people asking questions. I'm not going to lie. I like it. But you better come back and comment to the people who are answering you, because otherwise, dude, you just left them hanging. Don't do that. Make sure it's readable. I need to be able to read. Don't do giant block text. Please, for the love of God, don't change the font into something funky. Just normal, please, please. I don't want it to be giant. Do not do all caps. Do not change it to some weird color. And do not highlight your entire post. Yes, everything I'm saying has happened in stuff that has been turned in, and that's why I'm saying it. There you go. So that's the basic rules. When you get to week 2, that's when there will be an actual grading rubric. I'm probably going to leave this one here, but there will be an actual grading rubric for each of these for you to follow. I was trying to see if I could spot it. Let's see. I'll show it to you this way. So each week there's going to be a grading rubric, and this is how it is graded. It is going to be for your first post. Notice the first post was on or before 10 p.m. on Wednesday. The first post was after 10 p.m. Wednesday, but before Friday. So you've already lost half your points for this category. If you turn it on Friday, you don't get any points at all for this category. Then we have days active, full points if it's a minimum of 2 days, half points if it's 1 day. Answer topic, did a great job answering the question, left nothing out. Mostly answered the question, was missing stuff, did not go fully in depth. Not bad, but forgot a key element or was too vague. Touched on the topic, but lacked any depth. Did not actually answer the topic. The AI one, this is where I normally end up having to click because it will take so many keywords and create something bizarre, and it won't actually answer my questions typically. Okay, then we have our content and interaction. Interacted with at least 3 classmates and to those who posted on the original post, and furthered the discussion. Had a few I agree or good point posts. Literally, you might have done a grand job on 1 or 2. As soon as you just phoned it in and did I agree and didn't put effort in it, this is what your grade will be. Replied to 2 instead of 3. This is one of the main ones I will end up putting for a lot of people. A lot of people, for some reason, will stop at 2. Don't know why. Responded to 1 person, didn't respond. And then written properly. So if you have a few small little typos and grammatical errors, you're going to lose a tiny bit. And then I'll tell you, hey, be careful with this and that. Lots of issues. And then it gets to where it's just not readable. And that's happened before. So that is the way all of your discussions are going to be graded. I think that's enough for all that stuff. And I am freezing out here. This is my sunroom and it's really cold. So I'm trying to finish real quick. I know, real quick. I'm incapable of not talking. But that's pretty much how it's all going to work. I do like a lot of interaction. I want opinions. I want thoughts. Everything through this entire term, I'm going to ask you what you think. And you're going to have to answer what you think. It makes me very irritated when people don't. And the worst thing you can do is say, well, I don't know what to say because I've never thought about it. You can say that at the beginning, but your assignment is legit to think about it. So by the end of when you're typing stuff up, you should have spent time thinking about it. It is okay to have never had something cross your mind. Totally okay. Perfectly normal. But when you're asked a question and you're told, hey, check this out, that means you need to look it up. You need to look at it, read it, sit and think about it for a moment. Look at some more stuff. Think about it. My goal in this course is to make you think. I'm not going to tell you what to think. You are entitled to your own views, your own opinions, your own whatever. But you have to think. You have to think for yourself. That's the important part. Yeah, I think that's it. I'm freezing. So I had something random run through my head. This happens. That's the ADHD part. I have covered the syllabus. I have told you things open early in the morning on Sunday, like when it turns into Sunday, it closes Friday at 10 p.m. I want you to use your brain. I want you to think, and I want you to be kind and keep up with announcements. And do not ever forget to open that week's file, because without clicking that week's file, you have no access to the assignments. And I guess that's it. I'm going to try to start updating the other stuff later throughout the week. And yeah, I hope everybody is semi-warm wherever you're located, because this winter storm, that kicked everybody's butt. And that's it. So peace out.